Just want to learn more about how you have it set up and see if it would make sense.
On one end, with both of those scenarios, just to shortcut things and answer your question, you're asking about how I've set things up. This is what my system looks like. And there's a lot going on here. But on the left hand side, this is lead sources. So I do everything from referrals to Facebook ads to setting up a website. So if you guys decide to go your own way, I can set up the website, help you get the Google profile, help you collect reviews to that Google profile. And really that's the full scope is like I help you guys go from leads to all the way to getting referrals, not just closing the job. So when you're looking at your the franchisee and their marketing, they're really from the sounds of it just getting you leads and then you handle the rep. And then
Mhm.
you and this other guy, he's booking those appointments. I don't really sell leads or appointments. I really actually am like what I do help with lead generation, but that's not my focus. Ultimately, you don't want leads and estimates are better, but also you probably want paying customers more than anything. So and if you're working with the franchisee, that's okay. But for example, let's just say you run ads with them and you stick with them, I can still give you this system. And my system is actually, that's what I'm trying to say is that I'm not really focused on getting you leads. I will get leads, but I try to get those leads into my system. I do book appointments and they go right onto your calendar. Same thing. I qualify them. If you look here when they come in, I ask these three questions usually, and I can change that up. But I ask what type of floor, what's the approximate square footage, and is there any damage before we go out there? And then, I try to set up a phone call, you go to the in-person estimate, all of that, but essentially that's where I come in is like I have the appointment setters set up for all of your leads. So if you come in, we set up new business for you instead of doing the franchise, like I can build that website, get you on Google, like I said, set up the Facebook ads and run those people into my system and I'll qualify those people, schedule that. I can do it a few different ways. Sometimes it depends. When guys are in your position, I normally do initial phone call. So I'll qualify them, ask those questions before you ever even call them. So I find out those three things. You'll know those details as you're calling. You call them, and then again, that's where you step in. You call them, schedule the in-person estimate. You just go to the in-person estimate. And through that process, if you look here, all this gray stuff, this is just basically follow-ups and reminders for the in-person estimate. If you send them an estimate and they don't move forward, I follow up with them over time and I eventually go into a year-long follow-up. But that's where a lot of guys fall off is that they just don't have a system once the leads come in. So again, I think that that might be even if you're getting those appointments from that guy, I would just need to plug it into my system. However, you're like, hey, this is the lead. And then again, you go to those appointments, but what happens if they don't follow through, if they don't close? Sure, some of them do close, but some of them don't. And then do you follow up with them 4 or 5 times that first week? And then do you continue to follow up with them for a year, and my system's built to do that, and dude, you'd be surprised. I literally just had a guy before Thanksgiving, we got a lead from Facebook for like it's a $10,000 job, and that guy just messaged us again yesterday, and I told the client, "Hey, that guy's message," and he was just like, "Dude, I've been trying to get a hold of this guy," but sometimes it takes them 3 months, 4 months, sometimes even longer. I try to get it faster than that and close the first time you call them, close them, get them on the books within the first month. But that's the aim that I take is like, I can help you no matter where you're getting leads, whether it's referrals. And that's what I guess that's the back end here is a lot of guys just aren't asking for referrals when they're done with jobs, and that's an entire lead source. So that's where I come in. I just automate that for you. And what I do with that is I time the job whenever the job's complete. You're like, hey, I'm doing the job today. Whenever the job's done, I send you a survey that just asks if you want to get a review, ask the person for a review on Google, or if you want to get a referral. But again, some of this stuff might be weird. What I'm telling you might be weird if the franchise is involved and you're not allowed to have a Google, or I can't really get on your website. I can still run ads, but you see what I'm saying? I just need to know what you are doing. And this system is like this is just the baseline of what I do. What I have here is like an initial phone call, but what I was also mentioning is some of my guys are just really busy and they are trying to weed out people that are price shopping really hard. So I send a quote instantly. I don't do that initial phone call. whenever somebody comes in through the ad, I just send them a range based on what type of floor and the square footage that they told me it was. And I'm like, hey, based on what you said, this is the range. This is our price. My guys are 8 to 12 for metallics, or 6 to 9, or whatever it is for flakes. And so I just send them that range, and then some people will just ignore us. And then what I do is from there, if you look here, I ask them questions. Like, hey, I'll send them an email and a text. This one's one of the best ones. It's the last thing I do too, but I'm like, hey, there's a few reasons why people aren't moving forward from that range I sent. It's the price is too high, or you need financing. You don't have enough information about what we can do for metallics, or just your garage or whatever. The timing's not right, or you want to schedule something later, or you have a lower quote from someone else. And I tell them it's a lot more detailed than this, but I'm just like, hey, no matter what it is that's stopping you from liking us, whether it's the price or you have a cheaper quote, like, we can work with these things. So which one is it for you? And would you like to schedule a call with the owner so that way we can talk about maybe your quote? Maybe you have a cheaper quote, but you might need, as the owner, you might need to call them, or the salesperson might need to call them and compare that quote with them. So that way you can be like, they're not offering you a warranty. And that's why it's so cheap. So if you don't care about the warranty, I can maybe cut that off of my quote if you're ready to move forward and just like close these people. But that's what this system is. That's why I have all of this set up, is to actually support you, do your follow-up. I basically can automate your follow-up. That's automatic. If you want me to automate the estimate sending like that, I can. Again, the review collection and asking people for referrals. I go as far as waiting. If they don't give a referral, I'll wait about 3 months and I'll text them again and be like, hey, how's the floor? And do you want to give us some referrals? So not just leaning on the ads. I don't know if I breezed past that. But if we set up a website, I'm writing blogs, I'm helping getting the reviews, so that way your Google profile will generate more traffic to your website, and then that just leads to more leads. So that's what this, and if you see that, just funnels back around in some of these spots. Some of these things, the website ads, you have to keep spending on, but if you get referrals, that's going to come back, and then they're going to call you, do that initial thing, send them an estimate, go to the in-person estimate, and just keep that cycle. This is the process. And this is where a lot of guys are actually missing out on things. You can throw a lot of money at leads, but if you're not calling the people, if you're not qualifying the leads, if you're not going to in-person estimates, your conversion rate is going to drop. And you need to be, if you don't go to in-person estimate, you don't do that, you really got to be on it. You've got to be, your pricing has to be right. You've got to just really be on it. So that's what I do. I do the ads. So if you need support with the ads, definitely I do that. The cost per lead is a lot lower than 145. I aim for around 30 to 50 per lead. Definitely not, if sometimes with seasonality through the holidays and stuff like that, it can run up a little bit higher towards 75 to 100 per lead. But just on overall, it's around 30 to 50. And then, so I don't know if that, I can go into a lot more detail for you. I can break down your process. That's typically what I do, but I didn't want to go through all of that again if what I do doesn't make sense. If you're like, no, I've got that. Ultimately, if you see all of these things, this is all stuff that you really do need to be doing. This is all asking, following up on the estimate that you sent, reminders, the year-long follow-up, asking for the reviews, referrals. But all of this needs to be done. But what I've done here is, and most of the time, this is all orange. And a lot of times guys aren't, the orange stuff is you. And so in my system, this is the stuff that you would be responsible for: going to the in-person estimate, sending a quote once you're there, scheduling the job, because I can't, it's rough for me to schedule jobs on your schedule if I don't know. So there's a few things that you have to do, but all of this needs to be done. And like I said, this whole step right here, this is just asking for reviews and referrals. Guys are never doing that. Never. I get on every call, they're like, yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. Uh, so, and that, again, that's like money right there. But what I try to do is automate all of this stuff, so that way it's a lot less stressful for you. Again, you just do that initial phone call, whether it's up here or I automate it. These are the same thing. You're doing that call after I qualify them, or they submit it and I send the quote, and then you'll call them to verify details, schedule the in-person estimate, go to the in-person estimate, send them a final quote there. Again, schedule it. Ask this right here is if they say that they had a bad review, I text you and I'm like, hey, they rated it a 1 before we send them to Google to leave a review on Google. I just have that filter in there so that way I give you the chance. I'm not just sending everybody to Google, but that's a lot of what I do there. And again, I can work with whatever, even that guy bringing in those estimates. He's just basically doing a lot of this part for you. And then you're going to those in-person estimates, right? Once he schedules them.
Setup you just sets helps us on the front end. I like the flow chart you have because we have a little business card with a QR code for reviews. But like everyone else, we can improve on how much we're asking. But our process has been pretty similar to what you've laid out. We'll have the initial phone call, and before going out there, I always try to get their best guess on the dimensions, give them a ballpark range of what it will be. Then, if that sounds good to them, we'll definitely go meet. And then we're always, after the quote, following up every day and then every week if it's been a while. I'm just trying to get a yes or a no answer from them. And then we've actually had pretty good success with referrals from some of the residential customers and then from builders that we work with too. But it's not automated right now. There are some capabilities to do that, but we're on Service Titan, not our favorite CRM I've ever used, but there are some capabilities there. And with SEO, we wouldn't be able to get you access to the website, thing the franchisor owns and runs.
Right.
We've been very flexible. So we're kind of stuck on just finding a way to get leads, and then we handle everything after that because there's not really much flexibility on the back end.
1000%. I think that's what I was mentioning and why I jumped ahead a little bit on this stuff is just because of that situation alone. If you were looking just to automate what you're doing, I can definitely do that. That's no problem. If you're looking for me to work with you on like a new business and if you need help setting up a website, the business name, the logo, the Google profile, all of that stuff. I do handle a lot of those admin tasks, like setting up the profile. So I can help you do all of that if you are hitting that wall. And I totally understand where you're coming from. So if you're hitting that wall with them where they like you can't really work on your SEO and they blocked you in to their stuff. And dude, I would tell you that $1,500 budget, there's no way, man. 3,000. I don't match ad spend with people, I'll be straight up, but from what you're telling me, it sounds like they didn't. Like, though that number, I tell guys with my range around the $30 to $50, that comes out for a $1,500 budget, that's 30 to 50 leads a month. And so if you're at 20 to 30, one, they're not really running the ads that good. And then it's also, they just didn't match you either. So I don't want to talk badly. I'm just like, from the math that I can tell, it doesn't really make sense. But so that's what I'm so if you're locked into that, it definitely causes some problems, but I can help with that. That's what I'm trying to say is I do focus a lot more on the sales and the systems. And with that, if me and you can't do SEO and we can't do ads, or ultimately, I look at that perspective. That's the perspective I take is that I'm actually trying to help you. Let's say you run ads with these guys and you get the 20 leads and you close 3 to 5 of those jobs. I don't know how many you would be able to recall, but even if it's not that many, how can I help you capture those leads even over time? Like I said, sometimes people just get too wrapped up and it is a next year thing. It's the next spring. A lot of guys over the fall were saying that for some of my clients. And I see this stuff and they're like, oh, it'll be maybe April, it'll be a good time. But if you never follow up with them again, if you get too busy with your own business, you just lose those leads. And so that's where I come in. That's what I try to do. Again, I do the full thing, Google ads, SEO, website design, all of that, Facebook ads, but more so, just through over time, I started as a marketing agency more so. And then over time, I've realized none of you guys want leads. You guys want closed deals. And ultimately it's how do we do that through reviews, through referrals, through texting the people, through offering them discounts. Like some guys, sometimes you just need to text people that have left you a review and I'll mark them in my system, and then we can text them later and be like, "Hey, like the people that left us Google reviews, let's text them 25% discount if they do 500 square foot patio or something. I don't know, whatever. But you can, and that costs nothing. That doesn't cost you ads. And you're kind of, that is lead gen off of your current list. So that's where I take. And then again, I just talk to you guys and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. Let's come up with a campaign and text these people and see if we can drum you up some cash without having to spend on ads. But again, I know that that's a lot of stuff. And I think that's, again, I wanted to just, you were asking, hey, how do you do this stuff? So that I wanted to explain that. But I do think that the franchise thing, I just need to know what side of things you want to do. And if you're trying to branch off and do your own thing, if you ask me and if you have the money to do it, I would tell you that's probably the smarter thing. That you're probably going to run into a lot of issues doing the franchise stuff. And I don't know if there's specific reasons why you're in the franchise or not, if it was for them to help you or not. But I just lean on that side of things a lot more. And I want to turn what I try to do is like turn flooring companies into franchises. Do you know who Wise is?
Yep. Yeah, you worked with Wise?
Yeah, I've never worked with Wise myself. No, I just know who they are. But that's kind of how they were. They were just like a coding company at first, and then they became a franchise. And that's what I try to help guys do more so in the long, if they want to. It's like that. I think that that's the more appropriate thing rather than you being subject to a franchise, you being the franchise and getting the materials and selling that. That's what Wise does. You have to get your stuff through them and they're taking percentages off of that, and their model is really interesting. But that's kind of the aim I try to take is like, as well rounded as I can. I do handle the lead gen stuff, but I also do a lot of that sales stuff. And again, I just need to know if they'll let you have that control of the ads, but not the SEO. That's minuscule. SEO is really, it's more of a nice to have, and you do need to do it, and you get free leads from it. But putting fuel on the fire, and if you like, just you it's more realistic to spend money on ads if you wanna sustain the business, so they'll let you do that. I would tell you it's all game, and like I said, if you're kinda stuck with just the leads and I don't have a lot of ways that I can help you generate leads with ads for or SEO, then I would say, like I said, I can always help you just try to improve your conversion rates in your process by automating it, taking some of that stress off. So, I don't know if you need some time to, like, think about what you're gonna do or what process. Is there one way that you're pretty much dead set on doing it? You're gonna stick with the franchise maybe, or
You're Well, part of it is we're locked into a multi-year contract with them, and we talk shit about them all the time. It's been kind of a disaster because, in our opinion, they launched as a franchise a little too soon. I think that was kind of their goal at the beginning was, they have had a proprietary product and had a model that was somewhat working in Dallas, and then they just started franchising before having what you have set up. So they don't have a good system, they don't have a good funnel, they don't have a good marketing team. It was a kind of premature in everything they launched. And then our material costs are a lot higher than our competitors. So that kind of cripples each franchisee.
right,
But so the options we're considering are, we'll seeing what kind of flexibility we have with them to maybe take ownership of all of our marketing, SEO. But I would say that's pretty unlikely. Maybe there's a 25% chance that we could get the green light there. And then getting out of it, we have non-competes and stuff, so we probably couldn't just set up another company and compete in the same territories.
right.
Um, so that's why we were thinking of maybe just setting up not a shell company, but just something on the side to just generate leads and do follow up that way. So we're just trying to get creative.
No, I see where you're going. I just need to think about that for a second. I think for the sake of ease on my end, it would just be like let's say ABC coatings. That's just all that I would really be involved with. And then I would just drop off what happened in the long run. It's the same thing. If people come in that call, I scheduled when people, if we ran ads and people came in, they would my system will actually, I have AI that does the appointment scheduling and it works. I've been doing it for a long time just so and it works flawlessly. It doesn't say crazy stuff and it just gets those questions and then my system, the AI actually books that appointment too. So it doesn't send them a link and say, "Hey, will you schedule the time? What time is good?" And it knows what your availability is. You'll have to tell me, but I preset that. So if it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, that's the only time that it'll offer phone call appointments. And then that again, it's that initial call, and I tell them that, hey, we just set up that 15-minute call. And so it would be like, we just set up that 15-minute, hey, it's ABC company. Typically set up a 15-minute call just to confirm the details, make sure everything's right before we come to your property. When's a good time to schedule that? And then it schedules it and it'll go to your calendar. I'll need you to like integrate your Google, I'm assuming, or iCal, either one, to my system. And then my system, you'll get notifications via text and email, but ultimately you just need to look at your calendar and say if you had appointments, you'd see it. It'd just be on whatever calendar system you use. So then you could just, that's where the trade-off would get kind of weird, is that if your lifetime green, is that right? Lifetime green coatings, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're lifetime green coatings and I'm calling it ABC, that will maybe trip some customers up. It might
Mhm.
make them feel kind of weird. So that would be my main caveat. But ultimately, that's what I think what I'm trying to say is that as far as I'm concerned, I would just need to concern myself with that shell company just to make it simple. I kind of I don't really handle lifetime green coatings because I can't do anything with it, but I could. And then even in the long run, if it's that shell company, I can do SEO on the website for that company and generate you leads that way. And like I said, put a phone number on there, and if people call that phone number, it just automatically transfers to you. That's kind of how the website thing works. So I'll have a phone number on there. I've got the chat bots too. So if somebody comes on the website and talks to the chat bot, it'll ask them those 3 questions and then book that initial call. But if they come on the website, they can also call you directly, and I can use a different phone number, like a local Denver number, and then have that number actually just transferred to your phone number, and you can handle those leads that are coming in from SEO from that website. So ultimately, we would just essentially set up what that guy has for you. And then I told you I can handle the appointment scheduling 1000%. And then I also handle all of that follow up from there too. But that would be the setup. You would just have the shell company, and I can do that. Assume that that's where we would go, that you might need to do that because of how restrictive the franchise is. So I don't know if that makes sense and if that's a happy medium with you, but it really ultimately wouldn't. I don't foresee it being a problem for me. It's just like how far do you want me to go with the shell company, like that company that you set up, because I can go real far. I can get you on Yelp and Amazon Alexa and Yellow Pages, and that stuff generates a lot of leads too. So that's what I mean. Yeah, I could go as far as making it look like real official. It's a real business. It's just you guys, which also, if on the scale of things, isn't that weird. If I ran an epoxy company and I eventually wanted to stop, I could just sub you guys out for everything ultimately. And that's maybe what we would just make it look like. Uh,
Like you did a sales organization and a delivery organization.
1000%. So I'm cool with that, if that's something that you're cool with.
Could we quickly go over some of the costs and pricing for the different scenarios? So if we were to do just ads, what it would cost for you to run the ads, and then is that per month or how are you set up for that? Like if we didn't do the whole pipeline, but we just did, here's our ad budget, and we just want leads, and then we'll take it and put it in our funnel from there.
Right. Does that sound fair to you?
That sounds pretty fair. It's nice because you're getting real time feedback on why people are saying no, where that's usually missed. I just don't know what their competitors are charging or why they're losing quotes. So that's really helpful. But yeah, pricing has been, we averaged like $50 last year, and then for metallics, we've only done a couple of those. We've been, customers, it's anywhere from 12 to 20 a square
Yep.
foot, depending on how crazy you want to get. And we did was, I think we did it for 17. We have another one coming up, so yeah, that's something we want to offer more because there's demand for it, but there's not that many people that can do it or that you do it well.
Right.
But Hernan, who's on the call now with us too.
Hey Jesse, how's it going? Thanks for taking our call. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I didn't realize you're on the call. I'm sorry.
This guy to the shop a little while ago. Yeah.
That's helpful.
Sad. I don't know if that answers all of your questions or if that all sounds good to you. Like I said, I'm pretty open to working with you guys on all ends. Whatever happens on your side, I'm pretty open to helping you guys on that end. So whether you can use the franchise or you need to branch off.
Super helpful, and so kind of more context and background on where we're at right now today. So we met with probably 4 or 5 agencies total to kind of what options we have.
Okay.
Definitely like your system. I think it's a lot more full than other places because most people will just do ads and that's it. Yeah, I really like your approach. And so we're going to be meeting either tomorrow or Friday, just our whole team to kind of what we can do, what approvals we can get from the franchise, and kind of the best path forward is. To be honest, I think just from what you're doing and how you're set up, I really like that approach because we like the automation, we like that, and our plan has been and is to scale pretty quickly. We, like we said, have run into a lot of obstacles with the franchise. Right. So yeah, we'd want to just kind of your whole system and just see where that goes and be it, use you as a growth partner.
Yep.
Um,
1,000.
Whether it's, we'll do it through the franchise or eventually branching off, or even if it's just if, some people that have their own company that can really use your services, definitely refer you that way. So we will probably know more end of day Friday or early next week on kind of direction we'll be able to go. But
Okay.
could you send like a quick summary email or proposal over just so we have that?
Yeah, if you want, I can send this. I can actually send you this map as well, so you can look over that and you can read it a little bit better. I know we kind of went over it, but I can send that map and I can send you a little bit of details about that game, like recap and a proposal of like all is included. If anything, I can also, if you want me to, I can also just send you the contract that I have.
Yeah,
So so you can look over it. It's real simple. I don't you guys could cancel anytime. You're very laid back about that stuff, but it's just a formality of like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is like fullness of it. So you'll get a better picture from that too. So if anything, yeah, I'll send you that. And then do you want me to you said Friday or Monday?
yeah,
Do you want me to, if anything, I'll send you a link to schedule like second call. And if you want to, you could do that next like or Wednesday. If you want to early, you can always hit me up too. Like if you find out Friday, you can always message me. But yeah, if anything, I'll send you that proposal and try to those details. I know it's a lot of information, so that's why. But I'll make sure I get that over to you right away. So yeah, it sounds good, man. You guys sound like you have a good head on your shoulders and are ready to like the work that you need to do. Like main thing, it's there's just always work. You need to be calling people. We got to follow up with people. Just follow the process really, and then you'll how you scale. So it sounds like you guys are ready. So I think you sound cool. Hernan was very nice with me. You guys sound like good gentlemen. So
yeah,
I'm
thank you.
yeah, all for it. I'll get you those details and then yeah, just let me know what happens with the franchise. I know that's kind of hang up on things, but like I said, no matter what, something weird happens or if we maybe need to figure out something out of the box, like I said, I'm super down to help you guys. And yeah, franchise thing is rough. So if I can help you guys get away from that at all or just make it better, I would love to help you guys do that. So but yeah, thank you. Thank you for jumping on.
And you, Jesse.
Course. You guys have a good rest of your day and a good weekend and all.
All right, sounds good. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, later, Vince.
Later.